This, as you know, is a marker, but you may not know the best way to color with a marker to get the neatest results and to keep the marker lasting the longest. When I'm using the marker, I like to put the cap on the back if that's possible with the type of marker so it doesn't get lost. And when I look at a lot of people coloring with markers, what I see them doing lots of times looks something like that, right? It's a scribble. It sometimes goes outside of the lines. There's a lot of white spaces, and when I was moving the marker, I was moving it back and forth in the same stroke. The best way to use a marker to help it last the longest and look the best is to actually trace again on the inside of the shape you're coloring. So I'm going to do that, and I'm using a wide line. This is a marker called a chisel tip marker that can make both thin lines and thick lines depending on how much of the marker is touching the paper. It's a good idea to practice on an empty paper first to see what kind of lines you can make to practice the thin lines and the thick lines. So to do it neatly, I'm starting out by tracing around the edges with a thick line. That's going to give me a margin to make it easier to color inside of. After I've traced around the edges, I'm going to pull the marker towards me and then pick it up. I'm not coloring back and forth because that actually destroys the nib. This part of the marker that the ink comes out of is called the nib. And I want to make sure I'm not smashing it by pressing away from me. So instead, I'm pulling and lift, pull and lift, pull and lift. That way, the marker will last long for everyone to use, and you get beautiful results in your artwork. I can use those same techniques when I'm coloring on the inside. So let's say I want to color the inside of my seahorse with a particular color. What I'm going to do first is outline with that color and then fill it in. When I'm outlining, I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and move my marker slowly. Marker doesn't erase, so I really want to do the best I can the first time. When I get to this area, I'm going to move even slower because it's a smaller space. So I want to concentrate. Now you'll notice I'm still pulling my marker, and a habit that I have is I like to turn my paper as I'm going to remind me that I'm pulling the marker and to give myself space to move the marker towards me. So I am rotating the seahorse as I am tracing the border. I'm also going to trace around any shapes that I have on the inside. So here I have on the inside of my seahorse the eye. So I'm tracing around the eye with the same color. That way I won't get marker in the highlight of the eye. Now that I've traced, I'm ready to start filling it in. And it'll go a lot quicker because I can pull the marker in smooth lines. Alright, here we go. Let's fill in our seahorse. Pull and lift, pull and lift. If you have a white space, you can go back and get it with some more smooth strokes, just like that. Pull and lift, pull and lift, all the way through the body of your seahorse until you fill it in. Because I went around the eye, it was easy for me to notice where the eye was and not color over the highlight on accident. These techniques help me take my time and do my best work, and I'll use the same ideas when I color in the other parts of my artwork. I'll outline first and then fill it in. With the little fish, I outlined first, and that's going to make filling in super quick. And I can keep the highlight on the fish too. Looks cute. I'll color the fins and the belly the same way. Let's color carefully and keep our markers nice for everyone.